Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about pressurized fermentation. And honestly, the only reason I'm doing this is because I finally have a way to do it that is safe. Anyway, I could have done it different ways that I would have probably ended up dead, like fermenting in a corny keg with no release. That's just a bad idea. Don't do that. You should always use a spunding valve when you're pressurized fermenting. So I have this Fermenter King 35 liter snub nose by Keg King. They're actually the same people who make my kegerator, and I really like that, so I assume this is going to be awesome. So this is plastic, but it can handle pressure. So the cool thing about pressurized fermentation is you can let it get really warm, and it will reduce the phenols and esters that you get, so you get kind of more of a clean profile, and you also ferment faster. So you can actually make lagers in these in like 7 days, which is kind of mind-blowing. I'm actually gonna do a video comparing like a pressurized ferment versus a non-pressurized ferment in like 80 to 90 degree temperatures, so we can actually see the difference, but that's for another video. I actually just wanted to drink my cherry saison quick. So that's what's brewing in the back. You guys might have seen the video of my brew day, and it is up here. The brew day is still obviously going on, but while I am boiling, I thought I would open this up because why not? All right, so this is what this guy looks like. There are instructions. So this can get up to 35 PSI. It's pretty neat. Oh, there's stickers on it that we gotta, stickers. This is the lid. You guys know how much I love floating dip tubes. There's a floating dip tube in here. So I guess that means we can actually serve off of this. This is the spunding valve. This comes separate. It actually says sold separately on here. So this is basically what regulates your pressure and makes it safe for you to do pressurized fermentation. So this will just keep your pressure at a predetermined, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool. Guys, I really like this. Okay, I don't fully know how to use this. So these markings are for PSI. Oh, well, that's bars. These markings are for PSI. So how you determine the pressure that you want it to stay at is basically you screw it in. So the more you screw it in, the higher the PSI. So you start at 1, and then like this is 15. I talked to the guys at Keg King, and they suggested using Kveik yeast, fermenting at 95 degrees Fahrenheit and cranking the pressure up to 15 PSI, which seems insane. They said they've done lagers that way in 5 days from like ferment to drink. And I think that's a little insane. I'm gonna push the limits on the saison. So I'm gonna ferment it at garage temperature. And so far right now, it's sitting at around 84 degrees in there. So it's gonna be hot, even for a saison. And I think I'm going to ferment it. You know, there's some like lore going around, I guess you could say, about how saison yeast can stall out in pressurized conditions, and it seems like, from what I've read, it's kind of a myth, but you guys can point me in the right direction. I also read a article on Brewlosophy, and it looks like they couldn't really tell the difference between a pressurized saison and a non-pressurized saison. So, I mean, that's how all Brewlosophy articles turn out, isn't it? So yeah, we're gonna see what happens, and if I can make a saison in 5 days, the world is my oyster. Okay, so this little guy is our stand. How cute! All right, is there instructions in here? I think I need to start making a list of all the pieces of equipment I get that don't have instructions on them. Oh no, I'm stuck. Shit. So this is liters to gallons. I guess it goes like that. I have no idea. I think it just goes on like this, because that's 35. Not that it really matters, right? I am gonna put this temperature thingy on it because I'm very curious. Beautiful. Guys, it's 93 degrees where I am right now. This is hot. Also known as 34 degrees Celsius. All right, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is a thermo well. Let's see, are these instructions? Not really. Oh, I get it. Okay, there's a lot of things happening here that I should probably look up a guide to, but essentially how we're going to transfer our beer out is through the floating dip tube. All right, I'm gonna go watch some videos and figure this out. Also, it says don't put this in the direct sun, so I'm moving it. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble this. I have a vague idea of what I'm doing now. This is your base lid. It kind of sits in there with the O-ring. This is the collar. All right. So this is going to be our pressure release valve. They also say that it's a dry hopping port, which, oh, it looks like it unscrews. Okay, let's see. All right, so it unscrews to be quite larger, so you can actually pour hops in there if you so choose. I'm the kind of person who likes to bag my hops, so I'd probably just take the whole lid off. Actually, that's not a good idea in those, in these. I've actually done that before and really ruined a Fermentosaurus. So dry, like you gotta loose hop it. So pressure release valve just screws onto here. This releases at 2.4 bars. So, you know, it's just like any other whatever. All right, so you're gonna have some posts. This is a gas post, the other one's a liquid post. You've got your poppet. If you've ever taken apart a corning keg, you know how to do this. You put the poppet in the small side of the spring and just feed it in there until it creates that seal. And then this basically goes here. And it doesn't matter what side, you just screw it on. And they said that you can just hand tighten and it should be good. There's obviously some resistance because you've got a spring in there. So, you know, it's gonna take a minute to thread on. And it takes a little force to thread it on just because you've gotta mush that spring down. Where's my wrench? Wrench. You don't have to do this, but I've had some explosions in my day, so I like things tight. So same thing on the other side. Okay, so this is a thermo well. Screws onto the bottom of the lid very easily. Your floating dip tube goes on your liquid side of your valves. The hardest part is getting this part on this part. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I truly hate doing this, but I really love floating dip tubes. Oh no, I ripped it. Shit. All right, we're gonna have to heat up some water to do this, it seems like. So I'm gonna go do that. This is now hot, so this should technically make it easier to do this. Does not seem like it is. Oh, there, got it. Okay. All right, and we're putting it on the liquid post, so the one without the notch. Let's see if this is any easier. Nope. If these things weren't so useful, I would be very unhappy. Oh my gosh, finally. Stand. Okay. So this goes like this. Why does that feel so weird? Ta-da! And then that floats with your beer. Basically, you're gonna hook up this to this to get in your keg, and you can push it out with a dealie that I can't think of the name is, with CO2. Now, to figure out how to get this guy on. Oh my God, this is so easy. Okay. All right, so you just attach it to a gas connect. So I'm gonna go grab one. Okay, so essentially this screws onto here. Cool, Sarah. And attach this to one of these. And there you have it. That's how the whole shebang goes on. I think you need to put on the collar before you do that though. All right, and now you can ferment under pressure. All right, so I'm gonna just sanitize the crap out of this. We're gonna seal this up. Give that lid nice and tight and attach our spinning valve. So I'm gonna set it at 15 PSI. Oh my God, I'm scared. So 15 PSI is 1 bar. This is basically gonna like carbonate as it ferments, which is kind of cool. All right, so attaching it to the gas post. I wish I could get this up on a little better. There we go. So now I can keep an eye on it. I didn't pitch the damn yeast. All right, so I'm just gonna throw this in the garage and let it sit. I'm probably gonna throw a t-shirt over it just to make sure that it's light tight. By the way, guys, I don't know if I told you how big this fermenter is, but it's 9¼ gallons, which is 35 liters. I probably said it was like 7 because I can't do math apparently, so just keep that in mind. All right, guys, the day has come. We're gonna transfer this from the Snub Nose Ferm King or Fermzilla, whatever you prefer. So this is sitting at about 6 PSI. The PSI wasn't super consistent, but it kind of hovered around like 10 to 13 during this process. I did take a gravity reading a while ago and it was real low. I don't know if it was my refractometer being weird, but I'm going to actually use a hydrometer to test this because I'm super curious what it's actually at. So to do that, I'm actually going to use my tap cooler and just put it in my hydrometer little thing because we need a ball lock liquid fitting to do this and to get it out. So this is how we're gonna do it. I just literally couldn't find any of my actual things that you're supposed to put your hydrometer in. So this is an actual carrying tube for a hydrometer and we're just going to have at it. So this should just push itself out and I'm hoping it's not gonna go too quick. Probably will. Probably gonna be a huge fucking mess. So one of the issues I predict is gonna happen is that this beer's carbonated. So like, how are we gonna take a hydrometer reading? I think I'm just gonna have to let it sit around and like become flat and kind of shake it up a bit. We'll see, but like, you guys can see all the foam. It's like actually carbonated. All right, so I'm gonna put this lovely thing on the counter and let it sit. Like, guys, look how pretty that is. It looks like a freaking cocktail. Okay, now for the main event. We're gonna transfer this guy into this guy. This should be really easy because this is carbonated. And so this is obviously carbonated, but if we run out of oomph, I'm gonna just connect my, actually I'm just gonna get rid of that. I'll just connect my actual CO2 to it. And guys, this fermented at about 86 degrees at the highest point. General, I think it was like about 75. So I'm really excited to taste this and I will actually taste it on camera for you guys. I think I can actually just attach my spunding valve. So the spunding valve isn't gonna let any air in, I guess. So I'm just gonna attach it at like 2 PSI to this. So that's all my CO2 coming out. And then the beer will go in. Are we gonna try? Well, she doesn't wanna do it, so I'm gonna attach the CO2. There it is. You gotta get it all the way in. That's the secret. Now she's going. All right, while we're waiting on this, I may as well try some of this. So it definitely has like a little bit of fermentation character, like, you know, when you overly heat something, but I have a feeling this is gonna drop out once it chills and settles, because this, like, obviously there's a shit ton of yeast in here still. But I'll do a review, so check that out. That'll be in the next video after I get this all cooled down. But honestly, it pretty much tastes like the normal cherry saison. It's kind of crazy that this was made in a week. It is now Wednesday, so it has been 9 days since I brewed this, and it's literally carbonated. I think you guys know I'm impatient, so we're just gonna do this and see what happens and get my floor really gross. Wah! Interesting. That's about what the refractometer said. It's sitting at about 1.004. I'm gonna let it sit in here and just see if it changes. So the thing about it being at 1.004, that means it's a 9% beer. I didn't mean for that to happen, guys. All right, so my keg is completely full. Now I'm gonna save some yeast. I always like saving yeast just because it's a cost-saving measure, and I am very cheap. So I'm gonna do it with the tap cooler again. The hydrometer is sitting firmly at 1.004, so that's great, I guess. This guy goes into my little yeast refrigerator, and we're set. All right, so let's see what our final gravity is. Well, we know what our final gravity is. Let's see what our ABV is. Okay, so our final gravity was supposed to be 1.017. If you're using the White Labs French Saison yeast, know that you're gonna get way below the estimated final gravity just because it is a beast. All right. Our ABV is 9.2% on a beer that we only had 8.5 pounds of grain in. Kind of feels like it's defeating the laws of physics, but sure, why not? And for everyone who always says that my gravities are off because I'm using a refractometer to do my final gravity, it was the same. So I don't know what's going on. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. If you want to get one of these, there's a link below. This is awesome. Like, I've been wanting a spunding valve to pressure ferment for a long time, and I'm so happy I finally got one, and it's just like really cool. Feels like there's like mini earthquakes in my new house constantly. Anyway, if you guys want my videos early, you can join the Patreon. Some bonus content, merch and stuff up there. Check out my podcast, Brewing After Hours. It's on all the platforms. And I'll see you guys next time for the review. So keep an ear out for that one. Bye. Big shout out to Nathan Riley, my newest Patreon member. Thanks so much for your support.